We caught up with Rich Nelson. He's the chief strategist with Allendale Incorporated. Let's just take a first blush at this report from USDA as far as acreage goes. Pretty big surprise on the corn side of things. What do you think?
For the most part, after months of talking about this issue, we are starting to see some clarity on this issue. After USDA's numbers are all kind of said and done, we've got this corn market really looking at this idea of much tighter than expected supplies, and certainly reinvigorating this talk about spring supplies up ahead. Certainly for the soybeans, a little bit of a trade surprise on this one here as well.
If you look at kind of overall acreage, it seems to be still in that kind of 180 million acres overall when you kind of lump it all together. That really didn't move a lot.
No, for the most part, that's not. And this will be some type of a minor change versus last year, but keep in mind we're not seeing this resurgence in acres like we really expected. So a lot of support, and for our discussion about yield, which come on top of this acreage issue, we have a lot of concerns about supplies, and certainly this year ahead.
Were you surprised by the soybean number being higher than corn at this point, or is that what's driving us based on the input costs and everything else we've seen?
And that's certainly the key question. Actually, let's discuss this issue first. Will we see these acreage numbers stand by the time the June report rolls around, which is a whole separate question. But we certainly were surprised by the extent of the change, which at least didn't show up in our own personal survey, which was released just 2 weeks ago here.
As we kind of look over the other side of this report, we had grain stocks. Were there any surprises as far as grain stocks go here at the end of the month?
As far as this goes, on the corn side, these numbers are positive. So much smaller than expected plantings. On top of that, demand in this past quarter, December through February, was better than expected as well. It implied, in fact, a better feed use this past winter than last year. So corn, positive on both ends. Soybeans, these numbers also implying a little negative there too, a little higher than expected. Stocks left over there.
Obviously, we talk a lot about corn and soybeans and wheat, but what about some of the other crops out there when we look at the acreage estimates for things like cotton and sorghum? I mean, we are seeing decent prices for those crops as well.
Certainly right. And as far as this report on the cotton side, looking at the numbers real quick here, we did see, of course, some minor changes here going from 11.2 to 12.2. So we did see that increase, which was a big question, especially with the fertilizer cost issue. So a lot of questions about that. On the sorghum issue, a little surprised, see this decline from 7.3 last year to now 6.2. So we'll see if that number does hold on the June report as well.
Rich, always appreciate the insights. Thanks for being here.
Happy to help. Thank you.